welcome everybody to our session on augmented reality today. Have you guys seen augmented reality before?
No. You guys like this.
You're going to have so much fun.
I'll just show you Anatomy 4D first, which will give you the idea of what augmented reality is all about. So this app is also free. So basically with augmented reality, you have what they call a target image, or sort of a trigger image. So this one is on the human body. It's just got lots of details and that sort of thing that you could show your students. If I swipe to the next slide, you've then got the heart as well. So once again, lots of different information about it. But these are just considered trigger images, okay? So basically, so I'll put that down there, and I'll use that as my trigger image. I'll then get Anatomy 4D. So this is the same app, but this is actually the viewer part. So as you can see, I've got my little arrows here, and then so I need to put my trigger image between those shapes. And when I do that, you'll then see come up on the screen, I actually get my three-dimensional object. So all of a sudden you've taken just a blank piece of paper and you've actually created something that's sort of quite interactive. So I can move around that, so you can see it almost come out of the page. And you can see my full environment still behind it. So I can sort of see all the shapes. If I then go and move my all the different systems around, I can then choose to turn different ones off. So I can analyse different parts of the body. I can change the sex. I can change. You can go right back to just seeing the skeletals. Like that. Yeah. So you can then turn off, different systems. Now you can just see the blood ones. So you can actually then work your way around the body. So it totally changes how you teach science and that in the school. So that's basically how a target and a trigger image works. Okay? And then it sort of locks in place too, so as I move away from it, you can see that you'll lose it. So if I then move away from that, and then I swipe to my next one. So this, these you can email, you can print, so I can print this out, I can project this image onto a screen, and I could then point that at the screen. It doesn't matter how big either, so you can put that on an A1 poster or something like that. So do that again, so same viewer, so up comes the heart, and with this one, the heart actually beats, so I can sort of move around it, so I can see the heart there properly. So it basically sticks to the page almost, so you can move around just like a 3D image. And same thing again, I can then turn off all the different components of that and analyse various parts. Yeah, so that's a very cool app. Alright, so that's Anatomy 4D. So that's basically how it works, alright? So this sort of ties in nicely then with Aurasma, because Aurasma actually gives you the chance to actually build those. Alright, so Aurasma is doing the same thing here. So basically on the default screen of Aurasma, it is looking for your trigger image. So, but we don't want to do that in this case, so we're going to click on the little A symbol down the bottom there, and we're actually going to make our own aura or trigger image and that sort of thing. So there's a whole gallery here, so Aurasma has quite a large online side of it as well. If you go and have a look at their website, there's like tutorials and that sort of thing about what you can create. You can see other things that other people have created. So there's a lot of really additional things that you can do with Aurasma here. And for the moment, I'm going to click on the plus button down the bottom here, because we're going to make our own. Alright, so there's all these overlays. So basically, I suppose that, like when you think about Anatomy 4D, you have your trigger image, which is at the bottom, and you then have an overlay, which is over the top. And the overlay can be a picture, it could be the video. If you're really good at it, you can do a 3D model like that and there. So there's lots of different options there. So in my case, I'm going to go across to device, and I'm then going to create my own. So say I wanted my own video or something like that. So what you can often do is, I'm going to take just for example. So what you could often do, and what some people have talked about before, is like having a newspaper article or something like that, or even make your own. So the students might develop their own newspaper article, and then they'll sit down with this article, and you'll have maybe their face or something as the main trigger image. And then when you hover over that, that image will actually come to life, and it might actually be then a video of them talking or something like that, or presenting on something. It could be the same like how they do the news or do the weather. You can actually hover over that. So what I'll then do from here is I'll click on the plus button in the top right hand corner. So I've got my option to camera or photo album, so I'm going to say I'm going to do it from my camera. So this then takes me to either my photo or video, so I can then take my video. So if I do my video, I'll turn my camera to do it just a bit. Yeah, just doesn't capture everybody. Alright, put my finger out of the way. Alright, hello and welcome everyone to our Tech Savvy Teachers. Today we're learning all about Aurasma and creating our own auras. Alright, so we say we're happy with that. So we're going to say we'll use video. Oh, no, so we're going to say use video, so at the bottom right hand corner. Alright, so we can give it a name that is optional, so just a meaningful name, and we click finish once we're happy. Alright, so now that's thrown it in there as a video overlay at the end there. So I'm going to click on that to select it. Alright, hello and welcome everyone. So it's a video overlay. Today we're learning so I'll click select in the bottom right hand corner there. Alright, so now this is what this is wanting me to do, is create my trigger image. So down the bottom here, it gives you a bit of an example of how recognisable the trigger image is. So, like if you were just to do it of the carpet or something, it's hard. I suppose it would be considered not the best trigger image because that's quite easy to, or there's not a lot of contrast in that, so you can't sort of differentiate. So when I hover over something here like this should be quite a good trigger image for it. So I'll probably get it green. Yep, so it's gone green, and I will then take a photo of that. That's right. My trigger image. So that's now sitting my picture over that. Now I can pinch and zoom and that sort of stuff over it, so I could then say, alright, I just want it to pop up at the bottom of the image. Well, so this is how you could see how you could apply it over a newspaper article or something, because I can then actually put it in. Sorry. So I could actually then put it into that wherever you want, so that it'll show up over that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, alright. So once we're happy with where we put it, I'm then going to press the next button. It's now going to save what I've done. I can give it a name, so I might call it blue. I'll click finish. And as you can see there, I've got public and private. So at the moment, and also add to channel. So at the moment, when I leave it as private, only I can see, right? If I was to then make it public, that's where you could then actually start having it so that you could log on to the app and you could actually get the same aura when you hovered over the object. So you might be able to then do that for your students. So you might make it public so that the whole class, all 30 iPads or something like that, will actually then get the same trigger image. So if I now, using my viewer, so this is just the viewer on Aurasma, if I now hover over that, when it sees the trigger image, it's going to start playing my video. And it's playing it exactly where I've put it and exactly how I've set it up. That looks a bit disjointed over that one, I suppose, but yeah, if you set up the right, if you have a nice looking trigger image, you can then put it up over anything you like. Now, so from that point, I can actually then say any object pretty much in the room. So I could walk over to that TV and I could have it play. So when when I hold up my iPad to the TV, it's going to come up and say something about the TV. I could even make a video that actually pops up over the TV when you actually hold up the iPad. And the best thing about it too is it actually sticks to where you put it. So if I move my iPad away, see how the video stays where it is? So if you actually set it up so that that video sits perfectly over the TV, it doesn't matter where it doesn't matter if they then move away, it'll actually look like it's actually stuck to the TV. And as long as the trigger object is quite identifiable, it'll work. So you could do it over a telephone or anything. So imagine in your classroom being able to walk around and they can actually identify all the different parts or even things, or even something you've written on the board or something like that. So, yeah, there's a lot of possibilities with the Aurasma. Any questions at all?
So you could actually send home a newsletter to all your students and they could have their iPads at home and they could have a virtual newsletter there and they'd all get the same thing.
Yep.
Yet from just that one bit of paper, as long as it was...
And that's something Amber and Kelly are going to touch on too, as far as there are other apps as well, and even some magazines and that are actually doing those sort of things as well. They're starting to head down that track, so because it just makes a whole different world. It makes it so interactive. So all of a sudden, even think about a digital presentation or something. It becomes you're handing a poster that just looks like it's just a nice, colourful, well-presented poster, but then your assessor or whatever would actually then hover over all these different components to see all the information or see a video played or a PowerPoint presentation or whatever. There's just so many really cool options with it. That sort of shows you the two steps. So Anatomy 4D shows you what the trigger image is and how that sort of works, and this is actually how you can then go and create your own.
So I have seen actually schools. So the classroom has created some work. They've hung it, in the foyer. When you go in, all the kids' works are there, and there's a sign that says, "Please grab an iPad from our office staff." And so parents come in, or anyone who comes into the school can just grab, you know, an iPad, apps already all loaded, and they just go around and it all pops up, and the kids have done different work. And you know.
Well, one of the other things we were saying the other day is imagine if you were in a library and the kids are trying to decide what book they want, but other kids have made book reviews, so they just have to hold it over the front. Some other kid says, I read this, it's a great book, the story's about this issue, and they could just go in the library getting reviews. Something like that.
And the only thing that I recommend you do with that too is what Erasmus you do, you can get like a little A logo, and often what they'll do is they'll put the little A beside the objects that are interactive, just so it gives people an idea of, okay, well, if you point at that TV, you'll get something, and that sort of thing. So it just gives you a visual indication of where to go.
Yeah, but imagine you could get, I was just thinking, great idea, but you could get the kids to do part of the newsletter as well. It could be spoken, they could be the news reporter, and send it home to the parents each week.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I think they're my two for the moment done.
Do you want me to?
So,
okay, yes.
You go. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to show you a very quick app called Quiver, and that's why I was getting you guys to colour in these images. So it works exactly the same as what Christian was saying. These are the trigger images for this particular app. These ones that I've got here today are the free versions. You can get paid versions as well in different things. So you can see here where I have got here. So this is another free app that you can just download. My iPad's doing funny things today. Okay, so you can see that it actually tells you what to do. You can print them, colour them, and then play with them. So, for example, I just did this. I just coloured in this bird one very quickly. Might need the sound too.
Sorry, yeah, sure.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Might should turn your volume up a bit. Just on the right.
No.
So you can imagine. Hang on, because it's on mute, that would help, wouldn't it? Is that?
Let's get the music in.
Oh, sorry.
I did hear it.
There we go. So each image that you guys have does something different. So if you like pass me images that you have.
And as you can see, like those saying, it picks up the colours too.
So whatever colour you colour it in, it actually picks it up and allows you to design your own. Shall we try the plane? Would you be able to?
Right, so, yeah.
Thank you. So you can imagine when they're coloured in, lots of colours, they just look amazing. And so you can actually write something on the tail and it'll pick that up. So, you can imagine if you were to take something like this and, it's an introduction to my project or something like that.
You can also press the
Lost it.
just try to keep your iPad around. It's just portrait. So it's right.
It's hard to. So you make it.
Are you doing that now?
Yeah, I'm pressing that button that's down there. Yes. No. Do you want to give me the dragon? I'll show you the dragon. And then I'll show you.
Do you imagine these as like the inspiration for a story? Do you imagine if we're doing it like birds? It's a great one, a great shark.
Yeah. Yeah, so story prompts. So you could talk to the kids about, different, aspects of the story. Okay, so if we're just going to use the dragon, what is the dragon? What is his backstory? What's going to happen to the dragon? You can use, as Amber was saying, you could talk about, adjectives. Let's describe the dragon, what colour he is, what are his characteristics. There are different versions. There's a world one you can get. There's a human cell that you can get. So you can imagine how they can go over all different genres in terms of text. The other thing that I was going to show you was, would any of you guys like a tattoo? Okay, let me show you. Okay, you'll need to choose your tattoos. Which ones would you guys like?
How would you got a little bit tougher?
Would you like one of those?
Want a whole sleeve?
You can all have.
Okay.
You can all have one if you would like one. I've got some white paper here.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, wow.
So you can put
Let's see this one.
I was looking at, are you looking at that one?
Oh, you're bad.
Okay, so what you need to do is cut it out and then take off the plastic that's over the top, hold the wet cloth on there, like a normal tattoo.
I'm going to get one up, another wet cloth.
Yeah, that would be great, thank you.
I hope someone wants the skulls now. Thank you.
Okay, so take off the front. Oh, right. Probably somewhere where you can see it. So I put it on your forearm.
Do I wet my hand? I used to do this. I can't remember.
No,
Put it face down.
just put it face down. You're taking the plastic off. Yep, so put it face down wherever you want it to go. And then you just hold that over the top.
The quiver.
Yes.
So you have to have that always over the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you talk to the kids.
Got wet?
Thank
whilst
you.
you've got
That's
it
what we
over
get
the
rid of
picture.
a bit dripping.
That's all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I noticed as you're moving it around, it was still picking up on us.
Yeah, it still sort of picks up little bits. Yeah, if it goes too far off the image, it will. Yeah.
And when you do the locate, so does that mean each of these apps has a different sort of locate, or is there one that you just?
No,
is
they're
that-
all different.
They're all different.
Right.
Yeah.
The apps.
Yeah. So the trigger images that they work off because they're different.
Yeah.
So I get to know one really well.
Yeah, it would be my.
But it's a similar kind of thing to QR code. So have you used
Yeah.
QR code?
Yeah.
So it's the same principle that there's this particular trigger image
Yeah.
and it will lead you to a video or a picture, but these ones are a bit cooler than the QR.
The only good thing about QR codes, I suppose, is that anything, as long as you've got a reader,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter where you generate it from, it will take you there.
I'm going to go sit in my 1304 lecture like this.
But I did on my holidays.
Mm.
So these are called miracle tattoos. Amber saw them and she said, these are really cool, and I went, I'm going to find them. So they were $10 a packet on eBay.
These two set each other challenges. So,
Yeah. But what they do is, I'll just show you here so that we can see them, and then I'll give you my iPad so you guys can pull it.
I'll put it on mine as well. Do you want the big towel? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it walks up and down the arm. So you can imagine a similar thing, you could use it for stories, you could use it as prompts. I just think they're really cool. This one, my kids love this one. I'll unhook this and I'll pass
So we
my-
just look up miracle tattoos.
If you
for
get
that.
the app is free.
Yep, I'm just
So if
downloading
you've
it right
got a
now.
smartphone, you
It's like
can.
miracle tattoos, just a little boy.
Yeah.
So if you hold that over your tattoo now.
I've got a new feature which is Go Freestyle, so you can unlock the animations from the tattoo.
Oh,
So you send over the camera, so you can have the spider on your face.
oh my
Oh,
god.
there you go. So then you could move it around the room. You could set up scenes. You can tell stories.
There's
Oh,
the-
Oh,
there you go.
yeah.
So now it's gone freestyle.
Oh wow.
Because you can actually take photos of this too. So so you got the photo button at the top there.
Yeah.
So you can actually then like photograph it on your kids or whatever. And yeah. That's cool.
So then you can, you can imagine that in terms of storytelling. You could actually, physically have the dinosaurs walking around. You could take photos, you could just take screenshots and then put them into, say, a PowerPoint or a Prezi or an Amaze presentation, or you could, just sort of take it as it is. So that butterfly one just works exactly the same as that one. So this one, it doesn't need trigger image as such, it just sort of puts the image over the video.
Alright, so I did actually bring in, Christian was saying that books and magazines and stuff are starting to use through, so I did bring in a couple of the books. So these are my kids' books, Guinness World Records, okay, and it has a little thing on the front saying see it in 3D. So let's say pages.
I need to buy a new one.
Alright, so this is a book. So you can imagine getting your students to make their own book. And the ground is a ball. There's a hoop. And when I tap it, because that was a world record, most slam dunks by Parrot in 1 minute. But you get the idea. So, and the other thing is, like, you'll see a lot of the women's magazines have something called Viewer in them.
Yeah,
And it's an same kind of thing. It's an app, and you put it over the page, and a video or something will pop up to show you. Okay. So they're all, but imagine the kids making their own book and or taking photos, of a class excursion, making it into a book, and then doing it. So cool. Alright, but that's enough of those image ones. So they're all kind of the same principle there. But I've got a couple of other augmented reality ones. So the first one I'm going to show you is this one called Starwalk. Now, my son's in year 10 at the moment, and they're doing the solar system, as in the universe, like the stars and all kinds of stuff. So the way this works is it matches up with reality. So that way, is that really south that way? It says that that's south.
It's upside down now.
Oh, I'm upside down.
You go right around.
And you probably won't be doing it at night, but at night time you actually use the camera and you can match the stars up to what you can see. It's amazing. And so it can tell you, and it's like real time, so it can tell you where, see the moon down the bottom there? Okay, that's where the moon is at the moment. So you can watch the moon rising, which is amazing. And then it can show you, like, there's a satellite just there at the moment. Okay? And you can go around and look at all the planets. There's the Milky Way, that line right there. There's like satellite, there's Saturn. Okay? And then once you've decided what you like, you can zoom in and out on it. You can also get information. So if I click on Saturn, it'll then tell me about Saturn. Get some information on it. A calendar, so I know when it's going to rise, that kind of thing. I think it was now, though. That's fantastic. And then I can find things. So if I click on this search button down here, and I decide maybe I want to see some constellations, or I'm looking for particular things in the solar system, I can just click on it, and it will show me where it is. So at the moment, Jupiter's not too far from the sun. Or I could look at, for example, some satellites. Find satellites. A lot of satellites. Click on it, and then if I click on the satellite, it will take the information from the satellite. So there's lots and lots of information there. That one's really good. And you can also down the side here change it, the light. So you see, this is the visible. Oops, that's the visible light there. But you can also see infrared. So look at the different colours you can see from the infrared. It's amazing. shake it. So whatever you've done, you just shake it and it'll find where you really are in real life. So, oops.
So what was that called?
Star Walk.
Yeah.
And that's the first Star Walk. There's a second Star Walk as well, Star Walk 2. They're both great. They're fantastic at night time if you go out on a really dark night. They're really good.
So you would take this out at night?
Well, imagine that you had like year 10 class, like my son's doing now. They could go out and if the moon is up, you could look at the moon and then you could say, you know, what's near the moon? Okay, but we can't see that because the sun is so bright or whatever. But yeah, at night time, you really can hold it up and you can make it so it's using the camera and you can match the stars up. So you go, what's that star? You just point this at it and it will tell you what it is.
It's pretty good.
But and so you do constellations. You can. It's just brilliant.
How would you do that tonight?
Students get
Yeah,
just
tonight,
so long playing with these. I mean, I spent. So that's a really good one. And the whole idea of augmented reality is that it's reality with extras. So this is the real sky, and we've got extras for it. The other one that I absolutely love is geocaching. Now there are, it's a bit nerdy, but I'm not. There are lots of different geocaching apps. This just happens to be the one I use. And in actual fact, you don't need an app. You can just have anything that will pick up your GPS location. I'll just show you. I think I've got it up here. You can just go to geocaching.com. Okay. And it'll show you a map of all the geocaches in the world. This is a geocache. It's like treasure hunting. So these are hidden, things like this, some of them are big, some of them are tiny, they're hidden all over the world. That's a map there. But look, if I zoom in, you can see, hopefully, in Australia. Oh yeah, here you go, Australia. So here they are in Australia. So even just near us here, if I zoom in, there's so many, there's heaps of them. And yeah, it's like a treasure hunt. So imagine that you're out with your kids. How I started that, then my kids told me it was too nerdy and they didn't want to do it anymore. And you use this particular app. So I'll get the app open again. So I get my app open and I say on this, find nearby geocaches. So it'll tell me if there's any in this area. Right? So that's where we are. Okay. So there we are. Where that blue dot, you know the little park just there? There's one in the park. Okay, so I'm going to click on that. And that's the name it's been given. And I can see on there how hard it is to find, so it gives a difficulty one. What the terrain's like, is it very uneven, and the size. Now that's the smallest one. It could be like this big. And you could just have a piece of paper, so it could be tiny. So then I need more information, so I can go to this page and it tells me who found it last. So I click on recent logs. So on the 25th of July, someone found it. Okay, and I can read back through other people's logs. I say, on the 23rd and 27th, they found it recently. You have to check this because sometimes people haven't found it for a year and you think, okay, I'm not going to find it. But if someone found it just last week, there's a good chance you'll find it. There's a description on there, so it tells you why it's there. Sometimes it's history of the area. Sometimes it's like some important geological thing, or an old tree or something like that. And I've seen teachers using this for their classes where they made a geocache and it had something in it. So the one I saw actually was called Metamorphosis, and the students had to go, there was a park near the school, and the teacher set it up so they had to go around the park and they found like a chrysalis at one of them, and another one was like, had little plastic butterflies in it, and another, and so they had to walk around and find all these things. But it gives you some information there about it. Sometimes it gives you a hint, this one doesn't have one. For example, you have to be very tall to find this one, or look underneath the rock or something like that. Once you've decided that you want to find this, you click on Navigate to Geocache, and it comes up with a real map. And as you walk, your little blue dot will get closer and closer to it. Or alternatively, you can use a compass, so you can just follow the compass. So if you're teaching kids how to use a compass, this is great. And then when you get there, if you happen to find it, go back here, you say here, found it, and you just write a message like those other people did. You can put a photo if you want, and then it says, you can drop stuff up. So what happens is when you find it, and some of them are really hard to find, a lot of them I failed to find, but when they're big ones, they're usually not too bad. And inside them they have like little toys and stuff, and the plan is if you take something, you've got to put something in. You don't have to take anything. And they'll all have a bit of paper, sometimes you have to take your own pen, and you just sign your name. So you've got a log here and you've got a log there. It's just so that the person who's maintaining this knows people are finding it, people are not finding it. And there's usually a little note in there saying, for people who accidentally find it, saying, this is a geocache, please don't throw it in the rubbish or take it or whatever. So that's how it works.
You're going to get like centralised around a tip or something.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's really fun, and I just think for use like geography or science and stuff like that, it's so many uses for it. And it is real augmented reality because as you walk, you see it moving. So as I said, you can use this app, or the other thing you can do is if you just go to the real site, which is just on your computer, you can get just say I wanted to do,
there's one in Kells.
I'm not sure that is. Okay, so this is near my house, okay, so you can see those smiley faces, they're the ones I found. So just say, okay, there's one in Garfield I haven't found, so if I click on that, so this is on the actual website, not the app, so if I try and get that. And then I want to get some information on it. I can actually print this out. And it has, it's hard to see there, but this is, you need some kind of app, and there are lots of free ones that will help you find these coordinates, okay? The geocache apps, and there's also other geocache apps, but they just keep a record of it for you so you know what you found and haven't found. And they've got other people's comments on there so it helps you. But you could do it with a class, you could just print it out, send them off, and say to them, you know, whoever finds this.
So, and have you set them up? So if you were to create your own trail,
Yeah.
how would you go about doing that?
So there are rules. It's on the geocache site to show you how to do it. But basically, you need a camouflage container. You have to have geocache written on the lid, and you have to have this little thing in here saying this is a geocache. So which they give you, you just print it out, and there are certain rules about where you can place it. So you can't put it on private property. But you know, if it was your school, you don't have to use the geocache thing. You could just make up your own one, as long as you've got something that'll find that they can locate it with, then they're fine. But yeah, to set it up, it does need to be approved. So sometimes if they're in the national parks and stuff like that, you do have to actually call them and say, is it okay? And they usually say yes. So
Even not on camps,
it's
the way on camps.
Mm.
Camps are huge camps.
yes, yeah, my kids are doing it. It's massive with the Scouts, which is how I found out about it. The Scouts do it. So it's really fun, and you go to places, I mean, nothing to do with school, you go to places that you've never heard of, because, you know, maybe there's something historical there or some kind of, you know, natural thing. And I've just been to all these amazing places because I was like, okay, I'm here, I want to find a geocache, and you look around and they are everywhere. There's even one on the space station, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's on the bucket list.
It is. If you take the time to have a look, they're everywhere. And it's hard to believe there are so many and so few people know about them.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. So that's a really good one too. So they're just slightly different kinds of augmented reality. And then there are a couple here that are just fun. So are you going to do the racing one? The Toyota one?
Yeah, if you want me to.
Have you got the printer? This is what my kids are using to just for fun. Okay. So this is. So the idea is that you have to do shields, but at our house we use shoots and just. So the trigger image,
yeah.
but this Toyota one, which is a remote control racing car. And so you have a track, it's a track, isn't it, that you print out, and then you can only see the racing car on here and you drive it around the track.
Hard to drive. Yeah.
It is hard to
It is hard to drive.
So we won't be able to because we haven't printed out the trigger image, but it's very cool. Any other ones, guys?
Oh, no, not really. I've got a spacecraft 3D, but it's the same. It just shows you the spacecraft driving along, so it's like you're on the moon.
Yeah.
And the other one, of course, is the QR codes.
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
really good too.
QR stuff is the free site. It's just online, just Google QR stuff, and yeah, that's how you create them.
Yeah.
But I reckon Erasmus the best one. Because you just imagine, imagine how excited the students would be if they're the ones.
That's amazing.